your conversations online with not only each other, but also other session members as well.
And on the board, we also have our website if you need to get on there to get into anything. And as we showed before, we have the Google Doc. You want to put any notes in there. That way we can all share them, and those who are not in our session will be able to see what we did today. We're going to start off with a little video. That was just a little clip from a movie called Cyberbullying on ABC Family. Today, what you're going to do is have a chance to interact with your colleagues in a little discussion about cyberbullying. Then we will do a whole group discussion on how you have dealt with cyberbullying in your school or in your classroom. And finally, we will give you research-based tips on things that you can do to prevent it.
So to start off our collaboration, we're going to give you about 3 minutes in your groups to talk about 2 different questions. And these 2 questions are, have you ever dealt with cyberbullying in your classroom? And how do you prevent it in your own classroom? We're going to have you guys talk for about 3 minutes, and when we would like to get your attention, we're going to put our hand up. If you could then put your hand up, then quiet down so we can have a whole group discussion. Okay? We've also set up with today's meet that if you would like to use, to put your thoughts on there, the link is up here. So as you're talking in your groups, if a group member says something that, oh, that was really interesting, you can go ahead and type that in. It's really simple. All you have to do is go to this link, type in your name, and then type what you would like to say. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay, we're going to put 3 minutes, and we'll be walking around too to kind of help you facilitate your discussion as well. Yes.
I had to deal with cyberbullying in the community a lot, so there's nothing.
That's kind of right in the middle where you have to be careful with how you deal with it. I was just so proud of the kids starting to get into it more. Taking the power back and this is what we about it. Mr. Mitchell, who's our history teacher. Yeah.
now when we found out this, it works and shows it's well to stick to teaching. So it's and like every single shot of the picture and so yeah,
That's really great.
yeah, it was really good. And it's almost like just reinforced that thing.
I was offering my
A lot of concentrator.
Did you celebrate
Do you think it's different because you're in an international? Do you think that has to start different?
I don't know,
That we deal with that?
our
Or
school
the station?
section on cyberbullying.
No.
We have one that goes through for the 2 weeks. If it's happened, since I'm mentioning a lot of the bullying, what they're doing is cyberbullying, and it also happens in the lab. So sometimes
You don't even know exactly.
I never really dealt with it because that's why I put in this. It feels like the more that we discuss it, the worse it is. And I don't know if there's any like tools or strategies in the second question, but I feel like if I say, hey, you put bullying her, it just gets worse. So you do, my hands are tied on that.
We had a actually grad school retreat now. The initial bullying came up where a teacher, so we had a I know, all of us, a teacher, students came to me and said, CDT coordinator. So rather than bullying girls to say, I've seen you do this on your face.
Yes, there you go.
Asking to hold live and these were boys and 16 can't really see it. So you can bit one thing I did short and like we had
Do you have like a police officer or something?
I don't know that's
shot that on the top.
It's not, but I always think our students, they don't,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like blend in anything that has after that.
Today's one that's right on our table. That is Christmas door face. I found this. Maybe pull the desk up.
And there was a big attention in 16, 17 year old. It wasn't men. It was really talking to child's parents.
Yeah, I found that Snapchat.
Some people fight it.
And the
They may not have
the problem is not the biggest thing that has this bubble, but it's
they would look at the face and they all get from children.
and
They took the stuff down. And again, I was trying to came to me and
I
said,
have especially now teacher
you know, which is great. So we get to kind of separate the questions, say, one of their peers, one of their teacher that maybe they're trying to teach and they're so choose.
we'll talk about what's happening, I just kind of get
Yeah, you might have to try to get kids to discussion about that.
So you talk to it, I know, I mean, I don't have any cyberbullying problems physically, but like I said, it's a grade, it's rearing its head up.
So we have major tuition issues at the start of the year. And we were going to, and then our kids started saying that open tuition is falling on Twitter. And at the start of the year, we just opened Twitter for that. And then we had like people at the university and stuff.
Something comes up,
And
like,
it's terrible.
there's a
In
big
the
fact that
situation
says,
that happens
you know, this sucks, or, you know, those are baby steps into primary. I feel like
The fact that it's
how
taken
do we handle it as teachers, like, we have to turn it
very
into
accepted.
so always on edge mode.
So when I was
Policy,
saying,
or remember
everything
everything
is
they
over.
were last week. This kind of.
We have about 30 more seconds if you'd like to wrap up your conversations and put your thoughts on today's meeting.
So I'm hoping that I'm eighth grade, put in those online presence strategies for them.
Yeah. Or the school. Usually we're commenting and we open up Twitter and somebody goes into the
horrible thing that other students will class is now. We eventually found out what it was, but it was hard for a while.
So that's when our yeah, so that's when the board manager and the
It's kind of the same thing. First, I was like, I feel like
And then if you like, any days meet.
Right, it was
Same
really
thing,
active.
but maybe you have a
Yeah,
bigger
they went, so.
Make sure you're wrapping up your thoughts for now.
ask
No,
for.
nothing is published.
Not our schools, I was a PE teacher, so I teach with
How do they do it?
Okay.
Mock everything.
Everything.
Blogs.
Is that because it's like participants?
Yeah, that's more for that sort of stuff. And we are starting to open it up, just
All right.
try and look at that, and so that kids get much shared documents.
Okay, thanks for, you guys had some amazing conversations, and thank you for those that put theirs on today's meet. We're just gonna look at a few of these. Be Nice is an anti-bullying initiative our middle school uses, and that's one I have not heard of, so that's a great one that we can look into, and we could add that to our, we have resources at the end that we provide for you as well.
Does anyone want, Margaret put that up there, would you like to elaborate on what is the Be Nice?
Sure, it was me. I'm sorry, the bracelet right now, so I'm looking it up. But Be Nice is through the Mental Health Foundation in Michigan, and we use it as a way to, it's an anti-bullying initiative, but it's also ties into cyberbullying. And we actually have a group at school that is called the Be Nice group, and the students actually come up with ideas and ways to prevent bullying at school, and they do days where like students sit mixed up in the lunchroom, so you're not just sitting like getting to know each other and things like that. And that's been really helpful for them.
Does anyone else know of any other initiatives like that?
I put up there always, it's spelled always, we say always.
This one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know, I was always confused with that. I don't know if it's geared towards elementary school, but my school uses it, it's not K through 5, and they give you basically like a word for word lesson plan. It's not really a lesson, it's just like a meeting type thing, and you go through it. It's just like, you might have like a first grade or like a discussion to do with the kids, and we would do it every Monday morning.
It's like a great way to start the week too.
Yeah.
Do every Monday, and then kind of carries it throughout the week before we finish that.
Is there anyone else who would like to add to, has anyone ever dealt with cyberbullying in their class? I know we're talking about a lot of initiatives against it, but has anyone ever dealt with the cyberbullying in the classroom?
I have a lot, teaching high school, there's a lot of cyberbullying that happens. So I was telling them Snapchat is one of the biggest, so they'll try to like hide their phone and take a picture and draw on it and write like a comment and send it, and then it goes away. So it's hard to like get them in trouble saying that you can't ever see what was actually there.
Are they sending it to like, they're
Same
sending it to
person.
the kid that they're making fun of, or to somebody else, so they can use it?
So somebody else, not. Jeff?
For me, it's a really hard issue to deal with because, you know, it seems like the more that we talk about cyberbullying, the more that we approach cyberbullying, the worse it gets. You know, I said, for example, if, you know, Lauren, if I know that Lauren did some type of cyberbullying to her, and I jump in and say, hey, you need to knock that off, it gets worse, and she's going to continue to do it. So it's almost like our hands are tied, and we don't know exactly what to do. Maybe I'm using the wrong strategies. It'd be interesting to see, you know, what we can do to approach that, because it's tough. It's tough to deal with.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say, because I teach a media special, so I actually do a lesson on cyberbullying. And one thing that I found through Common Sense Media, and you guys might talk about that a little bit later, but they mentioned that if one kid jumps in in support of that person, we talked about that would be nice too, that it kind of shut down the cyberbullying. That's more for public stuff that we would want to provide on Facebook, but one person said, hey, that's my friend, and then it just kind of stopped after that. So I've been trying to teach my kids to be, you know, good bystanders, I guess, and more active bystanders.
And that's what we're going to get into later on in our slides.
Would anyone like to add more towards that? Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't had it come up in my classes in Turkey, but I've seen it happen to my students as they get older and as they're using social media more. But something that was really helpful, since my department is teaching novels like Tiger Rising, they have themes of bullying. So having those open conversations with kids, talking about strategies, and it's not ending. I mean, but it's something that gives them help or relief by talking about it and solutions.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job in the discussion. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you another 3 or so minutes. I'm going to have you work in the exact same groups, but this time we're going to focus more on the policy side. So does your school district have a policy, or wherever you work? And what has your school done to to prepare you personally for dealing with cyberbullying. So once again, if you would like to use the Today's Meet to put your group's thoughts on there as well, we're going to put another 3 minutes on the board. Thanks.
I'm just going to try and put the poster we have in our school, which is probably you guys are the same. We don't have a lot of training. Pretty much, if I suspect anything going on, I just go to administration. I gotta really deal with. That's kind of what our administrators have dealt with. There's been kids that have gotten in trouble for it. There's been kids that have gotten suspended for posting stuff on teachers. There's a other posting like things like that.
Conditions that.
But it's pretty much like the teacher office. I pretty much rely on I just go, hey, Mr. Principal, FYI, this is going on, and then they investigate it.
That never solves the problem because they come back and they do it right over.
My school, I think, because we're elementary, my administrator just assumes that, hey, it's elementary, these kids aren't going to, be in contact with technology, which is such a naive approach to that, But I think that's really what they think, is these kids aren't on Twitter, they're not on Facebook, or they don't have access to it, which is just not true. So we have nothing set in place.
I think it's tough, guys, because I think that it's individual schools can take cyberbullying the way they want to take it, really, and from different countries. But I think it's going to be a massive problem in the future. And I think, because even the police are getting trained on it now, aren't they? I read something in the news, that 2,000, right back, but a portion of police are getting trained on internet kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's going to have to be a generational thing. We have to
Not too much about the
if you start teaching them when they're freshmen, so
it's
too late. They're not gonna.
We talk to parents,
That's true, yeah.
community guards, and the police, and they need to talk about something and start planning. Hey, this is kind of a shocker as well. It's, that it's in Ireland anyway, it's growing. And it's very because a couple of people have died, right? So it's nearly when something really bad happens, everyone's on it.
Yeah.
And we have in Ireland a few things. Now I know in England you have CO, which is brilliant, and we use a lot of their resources, but we don't have that report. We need that every single time. And then once we have this one, this and then it's like, until somebody else dies.
Right, I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah,
It either be.
the children might and there's lots of things down to a speaking talk to parents because they were in really big issues. Turns out she's in second and third class, which is family for the clearance thing. And I'm sure it's even sooner than that because kids are going to get
Well, I really do think a lot of kids think because they're writing it and they're typing it, they think it's okay. I think they can do it's very different than saying it in someone's face. I mean, I have kids that will say it in someone's face too. But as soon as it is protection, they go to the computer or the phone, I just think it's okay.
And it's not real because it was so funny with this particular class. They were playing with friends face to face.
Yeah.
And they still was happening online. And then they come in the next day, hey, so what to do last night? When they know they were sitting there for 4 hours talking to each other.
Here's another thought too, is this a new thing? Have they been learning, forever? It's just now there's a public outlet.
It's a different, it's just a different form. Yeah.
I wonder if it's explained at all. I wonder if it's more just because it seems like such an easy, quick. We're before bullying had to be more here talking, you had to be with that person or with the people who you're talking to that person about. But here they just have that. I mean, everything is instant, right? I just wonder if it's more now.
I also think it's quite hard to track the evidence, like you're saying, on Facebook. If you want to delete the post, you can just go in and delete it, can't you? How could you get evidence of the children's?
Yeah, but the good thing about Facebook is, I'm sure it's the same for it, you can download it up there. You don't really, listen, scared girls, okay? If you go to your accounts and your settings, now it might just allow because there's something where data protection is going on funny and never letting everyone use data. So if you go to settings, just download a copy or download something, and you should try it on your Facebook, it's interesting. Yeah, and it'll take a few hours, and it'll send you everything you've ever done on Facebook on something like a Word document. So everything that was out on your wall, everything that you had deleted, so everything that was posted, all your photographs, everything you were tagged in, but also your private shots. Yeah, and it would keep all that, and because Facebook is in Ireland, what I'd say to the girls who are going to get jobs, Facebook is in town. It's not a big stretch to think that you're bullying somebody, and they're anti-works and they're anti-look so you can get a copy, and somebody else can get a copy. You know, and we kind of clean up your profile in this program. So with Facebook, it's at least there is evidence there. You know, but with Snapchat, that's really just purely bullying. You know, that's what it's going on. That's why else would you want something to disappear like that?
I know in our school, every time you log in, it's recorded by our IT. And so you can say, oh, Susie was at this computer at this time, and this is the keystrokes that Susie did. You know, so if it was at school, I think we have a pretty good solution, but it's a tech IT solution. You know, and you got to know exactly what you're wrong.
Your conversation, so put your thoughts on today's meet in about 20 or so seconds.
Do you have any bullying policies?
We do, yeah. I think every school probably has something, but whether they're I'm checking all the time, so every year I go back to update them. And I know the board just sits there and ticks it up. It's just, that's job done is enough.
So, yeah, you can just post your thoughts on it.
You guys have the consequences and stuff?
Yeah, there are stages. Yeah, I mean, in Ireland, it's really hard to expel a student. It's really difficult to suspend education. Someone
same in America. No, it's just hard to hear, but you just have a specific way.
Alright, so we can get your attention again. We're going to do a whole group discussion again. Thank you. I heard some really great conversations as I was walking around. So what are some policies, or how has your school prepared you to deal with cyberbullying? Or have they?
I just pretty much kind of say, if I get any type of bullying, cyber, regular, any kind, I just send it to administration. I don't really, in our building, it's kind of the point, like if there's an issue with something like that, especially because a lot of the laws in Michigan and how strict they are with bullying, I just send it to them. Administration is the one that deals with any type of like investigating things. That's kind of how our building has kind of gotten to. I mean, not that I can't do it, but a lot of it you just put it to them. Because they're the ones making decisions, they know the policies, they know the rules, they know things. So, but I haven't really done a lot in terms of like us as teachers, except for that. So,
yeah, we to be honest, we've had no training in our school for cyberbullying. We've got posters around our school saying about, you know, Twitter, Facebook, and be prepared before you do this, but no training, and I think it's essential it comes into place ASAP.
And I think if it doesn't get talked about now, it's going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add? We had some great comments up here with we need to start with younger kids and parents, which is awesome. We're going to get into that with our research-based tips as well.
All right. How many of you said you do have a policy in your school? Did anybody? Okay. Well, we were just trying to see is your school policy, is it school policy? Is it city, state? Do you know what kind of policy it is?
I'm not sure. Yeah. I think in ours, like I said on there, it pretty much falls under the bullying umbrella, and so I think it's whatever's put in place by the state for bullying.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah, it'd be off the state law, or just put on the state.
And in case you're not sure, maybe that's something to check on when you go back in September, August, when you go back to school, just to see if yours has one in place and you're just not prepared or not informed of it.
For example, like I was talking with this group over here, my personal school district, we don't have a cyberbullying policy per se, but it falls under the bullying policy where it's just a sheet of paper that when you report it, you just check a little box that says occurred online. So whether or not that needs to be more elaborate, but
well, and then this middle table I was talking to, Joy, and she was They have different policies for different actions that are very similar, but different consequences. So maybe that's something that also needs to be addressed. No matter what it happens, the same type of situations, there needs to be the same actions. And then surveys state that 2/3 of teachers feel they don't have enough training to deal with cyberbullying and internet security. So that's quite a bit of teachers that in this day and age do not feel ready and prepared to deal with it.
So obviously all of us are prepared in different ways. The state, the school district, the county, the country, we all are prepared to deal with cyberbullying in different ways. So we have found some research-based tips that you guys can actually take to your classrooms in August and September when you start back to school again and actually implement them right away.
The first one is be proactive, which means stop something before it even starts. And we have some examples for you. We said monitor sites and set guidelines. We said one thing you could do to monitor sites and the time on the computer, have a sign-in sheet. Have them sign on when they got on the computer, sign off when they're done. Let them know you could view the history and see what they were on. If something's happening, you can see who was on the computer at that time and what sites they were on. Let them know what sites are acceptable for school. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, those are not acceptable to be on during class time. Be professional. Some students are not thinking about this, they're younger. But they need to know, whenever they put out their pictures, whatever they write, it doesn't go away. We use the analogy of you have a tube of toothpaste. Once you squeeze it out, you can't put it back in there. So, once it's out there, you can't do anything about it. Colleges nowadays will look to see what we have out there. We did something in class to see what negative things were about us online that we didn't realize. Some people know this, and colleges can deny admission for that. They don't think about getting jobs yet, but somebody might go and look to see what negative things, pictures, comments you have about yourself. And you're likely not to get a job if there are things like that out there. You're representing the company, and they want somebody who has with better intel than themselves. Have a parent night. Teachers believe, one out of three teachers believe parents do not have enough information. If parents don't have a policy at home, it's pointless to have one at school. Kids think if they get away with things at home, they should also get away with it at school. So have a parent night. Let them know what you're doing in the classroom, what policies you came up with, and work together to form one.
So we need to make sure we create a safe online environment. We spend the first 2 weeks of school going through procedures for the classroom. We need to do the same thing for an online environment. We need to compare those behaviors in the classroom to the behaviors online. For example, you would not sit there and let your students call each other names across the classroom. You wouldn't let them draw inappropriate pictures. You wouldn't let them print out pictures of someone else and post around the classroom. So we need to make sure that students understand that just because it's anonymous online, just because it's on a laptop, just because it's on a cell phone, just because it's on a tablet, it doesn't matter. It's still inappropriate. I feel like students kind of struggle with that connection between in face-to-face versus online behavior. So we need to make sure we're teaching those students, this is inappropriate online, this is appropriate online. We also need to make sure that students understand that sending inappropriate pictures, even if it's not of themselves and they're just forwarding it on, can actually lead to criminal charges. I don't think a lot of students realize that the things they're just passing on that they think is funny can lead to really bad repercussions.
We also were saying, some people said they have a police officer coming to their school because younger kids, they don't realize that it can lead to criminal charges. So by having a police officer come in and give examples of things that they've seen would also help. And we also said if the child is younger than 18, you can get in trouble for posting things, pictures, anything online.
So by a show of hands, how many of you have gotten a message before and read it completely wrong than what the sender meant? Anyone?
Okay. I got one the other day and it said, what did you do? I took it as, I did something wrong. What somebody meant was, what have you done for the project lately?
So obviously not only ourselves, but students as well need to understand that how they write things can be taken many different ways online. So for example, the first one here with just a question mark might be taken differently than if you write in all caps. Obviously the last one people might think you're yelling at them. So we need to inform not only parents, because I know a lot of parents that send emails to me and they're in all capital letters. And I'm like, oh my goodness, did I do something wrong? So But we need to inform not only the parents but the students as well that how you write things online can be perceived in many, many different ways.
All right, stay up to date. There's lots of new platforms coming out. Make sure you're staying up to date so you know what they are. Students are more likely to come and talk to you if they do not just sit there and explain to you what the site is, how it works, how the bullying happens. So make sure you're definitely staying up to date. You're more likely to listen to and follow along if you know what they're talking about. This does not mean you need to be a member though. I'm not a member of Snapchat, but I know what it looks like. So that way if the kids are using it in class, you can just shut it down right away and have them log out. We also said maybe have them keep their phones in their locker, because as someone was saying, in class, like Jen was saying, they'll take pictures, do whatever they can. And so maybe by having them keep their phones in their lockers, hopefully it would keep them safe a little bit.
Make sure you're attentive. So if you're in the lunchroom and you're on lunchroom duty or something, and there's a student who is sitting by himself, but normally sits with a big group of people, you need to know when to intervene. In elementary school, you might notice that students are complaining of stomach aches, they might start playing by themselves, or they might be avoiding others. In secondary, you might notice that there's heated arguments in the classroom, in the hallway, or even in the lunchroom. Make sure you have a listening ear, not only for the actual victim, but also for the person who is doing the bullying. We need to go back to those procedures. I talked about creating those procedures. You need to go through them all throughout the entire year so it's ingrained in their student's brain. If they know and understand that the same behaviors in the classroom are the same behaviors online, hopefully this will kind of curb and prevent the cyberbullying occurring in your classroom.
Okay, so Kelly actually was just talking about this. Teach students the upstanders. So I think if we start teaching them to be upstanders instead of bystanders, that would help also. Bystanders, they see the cyberbullying or bullying going on, but they do nothing to stop. They didn't do it, but they're not helping in any way. So they're also, in a way, being part of it. Teach them to be upstanders. Teach them it's okay to come and tell somebody what is going on. They can even do it anonymously, but as long as they're telling an adult.
And finally, we need to make sure we're responding appropriately. As teachers, we are held accountable for whether or not we report a bullying incident. You need to keep a record of when you found out about it and when you reported it, so that way when you go to a meeting about it, you have all of that with you. In addition, make sure students know to keep a record. Make sure they understand to keep a record of who, when, where, why, and I know Jen, right, was talking about Snapchat. You can still take a screenshot of that, and hopefully that can be their record. In elementary school, you need to teach students the impact of their actions. So Scholastic states that if you teach students how what they did impacts others, they're more likely to actually take a lesson away from them. In secondary, when you're actually interviewing students, you need to do it separately. You don't want to bring in a group of students and start saying, I cannot believe you did this to this poor student. You need to do it calmly and ask those who, what, when, where, why questions. That way you can see if they're trying to cover for someone or if they all have the same story. In addition, you need to make sure you're notifying all parties' parents and refer back to that bullying policy. That way parents understand why are these repercussions happening and what is going to happen in the future.
One thing I also said too, I know it might be more for secondary, is you could start an anti-bullying group at school. And if you don't have a policy, maybe in your group you could come up with things you can do and present it to the school and make your own policy. We also now have some who want to learn more. Since we're in Ireland, we found some sites for Ireland as well as the U.S. We have Citizens Inform, Watch Your Space, guidelines for bullying behavior in primary and post-primary, and we have Bullying for You. And what Bullying for You is a site that if you would like to create an anti-bullying group, it gives you lots of information here. Tells you what to do. We also have a few for the U.S. We have Stop Bullying, which I really like this one because you can scroll down and you can click on your state and find out if your state has a policy, a law, or both. So you just click on it and you can see. So I know many people are from Michigan here. So you can find out the definitions, the present in Michigan, the district policies, so lots of information. in case you were wondering what Michigan does as a state. All right, do we have any questions as we continue? Are there things that anyone does at their school that we have not talked about? Well, hopefully you guys got lots of great information.
So if you guys could please go to the survey link right here and fill out the survey. We are the Being Proactive for Cyberbullying. Make sure when you fill out the survey that the last question, this is not your last session, so make sure you put no for that one. If you're on our Grade 14 website, it's also on the survey link as well, for the survey tab. If you need help finding it, please let us know.
What information do you want to say?
Oh, that's a good point. I'll fix that. We also have our slides on the website as well if you go to our session. So if you want to see those links or anything like that, then I'll fix that so you can get access to it.
I know if you go to the top, yeah, and you'll go to survey right there at the top. Just click the breaks. So we'll come around and help as well. Are you getting it okay?
No, sorry.
Okay, go to the main, go to our webpage. And go to survey right there. The survey will be in the top.
Yep.
We definitely appreciate honest feedback as well. Has anyone ever heard of the Digital Passport website before? No. Have you used it in the classroom before? Yes?
Okay, and how did it work for your kids?
They really liked it, especially the games. But yeah, it's been really nice.
And I know one thing we said, some people were informing us that they have their tech teachers that teach cyberbullying, but they have no idea what they teach. They don't know if it's something they keep coming back to or how in depth they get it. So one thing that was suggested is you could do a website like this in your main classroom, or you could, someone said that when their tech teacher teaches it, they invite their regular ed teacher into the room to see what they're doing. But this is definitely something that you want to keep coming back to.
Yeah, I think that was good because I'm doing that. This is
Oh, very good.
key for me.
Well, yes,
So
like we
thank
said, all this information will be on the website. So
Yeah.
if you need to, or that way,
Yeah.
put any thoughts into the Google Docs.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thank you.
So we have about 5 more minutes before we go to the next session. So we want to thank all of you so much for coming today. You guys were an excellent audience, and we got some awesome feedback on today's meet. So we appreciate all of you for coming. And if you want to use the website schedule right now to decide where you're going next, that'd be awesome.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.